Welcome back to another episode of Game Breaker Creations. Today we're back in Planet Zoo. We will probably go back to Jurassic World Evolution for a couple of first person videos um, that my son will probably sit in on. And in today's video, we're looking at my Don't Make a Stink Zoo that I created for animals. Some of them start with letter A, some start with letter B. In the Planet Zoo list. A bunch of these come from the Nexus Mods site, and then a bunch of these assets will be from maps that I have explored, as well as the Steam Workshop. It will feature domes, mainly in glass buildings, as well as a big museum featured after the Cairo Museum, as well as it'll have some dragon garden with dragons featured from Mystic Falls, as well as another map that I had been exploring, and some dinosaur statues from the Steam Workshop as well. Um, so we're going to start out in the first dome here. And so we'll go inside this dome. And inside the dome, we have our Amir leopard in multiple colors. So there is a black version of it, as well as the regular spotted leopard version of that. And then over here we have one of these basically mountain goat, as well as the what was that? Just 1 second, I'll just look at the names here. So the Aoudad, which is a mountain goat, basically. There is the Binturong in there as well, and there is also the African, another one of the African gazelle type things in there as well. Is a type of monkey that I put in there. So that one is the Arabian Oryx. And then there is a monkey I stuck in there as well. There's the sign for that one. Black Howler monkey I have also put in there. So there I've got an Aztec climbing structure that the monkeys can climb up. As well, the goats can get up there if they really want to. There's shelters in each of the levels. And then over here we have, there's some more monkeys in here, as well as the camels. It's Bactrian camels, what's in there. And there's different color variations of the Bactrian camel, so they are in there. And then in this one, there is some more monkeys, as well as the Bayard's Tapir is also in here. Again, that is the white version, the albino, as well as the regular version is in there as well. And they've kind of got these caravan things that I've set up that they can go and sleep in, as well. This climbing structure for the monkeys that are in there. And then this is more your Arctic fox and Arctic wolf are in this section there. Again, another. Was supposed to be a sauna, but I took out the inside so I could set it up as a bedding area for the Arctic fox and the Arctic wolf. And then here we have the basically the Arctic groundhog that is in there as well. So the Arctic ground squirrel, or groundhog as well. There is the black-footed ferret in there, as they also like the colder areas. And then in here we have your Azeras agouti. I probably pronounced that wrong. And then there's just a bunch of shops in this shopping area in the center. And that's kind of your first dome. And then they walk out here, and you can go into this second dome, which is an aquatic zone. So lots of different aquatic creatures in here. So I also have another agouti in here, as they, it's a different type of them. This is the black agouti, as they like the water as well. As well, I have the banded sea crate, and this horseshoe crab, and the Asian water monitor are all in here in this area here. So you can see them swimming and doing their thing in here in that whole water area. There's a few of them in here. And then after that dome, we move on to this area here. There's some more shopping and stuff that I've set up all in between. And this other area is kind of an African area that I set up. But this is another aquatic dome in here. So lots of things in here. There's a whole viewing gallery underneath where people can view some of the animals from underneath in this viewing gallery. So we have lots of different types of fish all in here, as well as there's some birds, sea otters, lots of room for lots of them to go swimming in. You can see crowned crane is in here, as well as this Arctic or Antarctic fur seal, and the sea otter is in here. That's the Asian small clawed otter. And so yeah, lots of room for them to go in here. Oh, one of them got boxed up. We'll unbox that animal. And another one's boxed up. Just not let me click on it. What was that? They're not letting me click on that one. I'm not sure why I can't click on that box. Anyway, I'm not worried about it. Won't get stuck on that. So out here I've kind of got a nautical themed building here that was from one of the maps that I studied, or that I went and took some assets from, and had taken a feature for one of the videos. And so that is the staff buildings for that. From there, there was in between here another little glass enclosure that I had set up. In here there's your water purification center, and then in the center part here we have another area that has some fish, so the blue marlin, as well as a few other different types of fish in here that they can swim in. As you can see the different types in there. As well, I buried an Aztec building underneath to work as kind of an underwater ruins where they can kind of go in and hide amongst and play on the different levels. As well, if they need to do birthing, they can do so up top in there. And then the other first area there is basically just a gazebo that is an enclosure. It does have your banded mongoose in here, so they have lots of space that they can run around in for this and play amongst that gazebo. And then we kind of enter into the more African themed area here. So you go over into the shops, the restaurant there. There's this African overlook with the restaurants as well, that overlooks part of the park, as well as another enclosure here. This enclosure here, I put some water in there. This is in the Steam Workshop if you want that one, as well as this building here. So in here we've got a couple more animals in there, different varieties. I took these from the workshop, but I also added fountain type things to them, so they will act as your water fountains. And I believe, my signs for this. One of them is over here, so we have the pheasant, the blood-crowned pheasant, as well as one of the blue wildebeest. So that is in this enclosure here. And then inside this African circle glass enclosure, as that is kind of the theme, is mainly glass and domed for this one. And in here we have the Barbary lion. Again, you can get that from Nexus Mods. They have a lot of these different types of animals that are not necessarily available in the Steam game. Sadly, in the Steam Workshop, you can't get working animals that people have made, so Nexus Mods is where you have to go for that. And then there's this other glass enclosure building that has 4 different enclosures. Mostly it is, there's crocodiles in there. There's the Asiatic lion in there. And then this side here has your white version of a Siberian tiger. Here, we'll click on that and then we'll tell you the exact Bengal tiger. Sorry. So here we have the orange version. The other side we have your white version, and then in this side here, if we go to the sign, you can see here there's the Baral, and so that kind of covers that. And then we move into this glass enclosure here, which has some more fish that are swimming around in here. I just placed them, so they haven't really gone underneath here to explore, but really it goes all the way around. It loops all the way around, so you can see from this other side. If it would stop going out of the building, that would be greatly appreciated. So they can kind of loop around and go wander all underneath there. And then we have the blue-footed booby in here, and that is another one from Nexus. Most of these water animals are actually from Nexus Mods. They haven't really done much for a water animal release in Planet Zoo. I'm hoping that's going to be one of the next downloads that you can do for DLC, is going to be some water as well as a full bird one as well, because they're lacking in both those areas at this moment. Yeah, and so again, a little more for African shops, as it's your African theme. And then you can kind of go in here and you can see it's the staff zone within that. Under here, in this Asian lookout, you can go down, and there is the black rhino is in here, wherever they are hiding. Yes, there they are. So there's a black rhino in here. And then on this side, we have a climbing structure for this, as well as monkeys. So that would be your black-faced impala, as well as the black and white ruffed lemur. And so they can go inside this African building and see from in there. So it's kind of like a lookout building. And then kind of a more classic building as it shifts. It's still got some of the African theme, but it is going to start shifting away from that. There's a ranger wooded station as well for staff lounging, and then an overlook area that looks over into this enclosure. And then over here we have another glass enclosure that has a couple different types of animals in it. We have your black buck, as well as the black-headed monitor. So we've got lots of water for them to go to within that building. That really is annoying when you're inside buildings and they make it so you pop out of the building so easily. I'm not even going to bother trying because it's super frustrating. And then we kind of go into this dragon garden. These 3 pieces here you can all get from the Steam Workshop. This was supposed to be an entrance, but I converted it from an entrance to make just a really cool headpiece as you enter the back part of the museum. And I had put the one dragon, so it's climbing up the wall here. Um, and so it's just a big, large garden area for people to walk through. This is from one of the other maps that you can find on the Steam Workshop again. Um, and then this large dragon, which continues the garden walkthrough, is from a Mystic Falls map. If we go over here, so you can see a little bit more of the garden entry. Again, this is another piece you can get, really cool Phoenix that you can get from the Steam Workshop. Same with this elven gazebo. And then we entered the museum, which has this side here. It's kind of a tent set up there as you enter into some of the terrariums. On the other side, very similar. A bunch of displays, claw machine, the wagon, and then a couple more of the atriums there, terrariums there. And then on all the walls, I've got just different pieces that I've put in that, you'd maybe see in a museum. And here there's some more paleontology stuff, as well as some of the more pieces and statues that you might see in museums. This display and some shops inside here that they had already set up inside the museum. The basic building for the museum was from another map on Steam Workshop. I just filled it with all kinds of different pieces that I thought were very fitting for a museum. So some of these tents and stuff were the different colors were from a Narnia map that you've seen me cover in the past. So yeah, lots of different stuff to check out within that museum. And then if we go through here, there's some more terrarium, as well as this is kind of your weapons, as well as planetarium, and so stuff you would see inside that. On this side is some more ancient weapons, and then this leads around and out into the main area of the museum as well. And then you'd exit out the back door into the garden that we've got set up out back. And then you'd walk over to this glass building, which is basically some staff zoning areas, some shops, and a whole bunch more of the terrariums on both sides of the museum or this building. So over to this side, there's some more here. Again, this building is in the Steam Workshop. And then there's another enclosure here. I completely opened up. This was meant to be 3 enclosures, but I actually opened it up and made it 1. It's got staff buildings in it as well. It's got some black wildebeest. I've got the albino version and the regular version in there. So the wildebeest can wander around that whole enclosure, and they're surrounded by this beautiful garden area here as well that is within the dragon garden. And then in here, this is another one of the buildings from the Steam Workshop. It just gives you some ideas of some stuff you can grab from the Steam Workshop. And in that enclosure, I thought I was clicking on an animal there, but they gave me that other stuff. So in this enclosure, you can see it is another one of the, this is a red-rumped agouti. Click off of that. And then we go over here. And here you have the Blesbok. It was within this, more Asian theme to go along with the dragons. It made some more Asian stuff, which is hence the cherry blossoms, because dragons are a little bit more Asian with all their lore. And there is a garden shop here as well that people can go and shop in. And then over in this enclosure, we have a couple different animals. Climbing structure for our blue-eyed black lemur, as well as this guy, our blue buck. So a couple different climbing enclosures. It's a bigger enclosure for them since it goes kind of long and goes around. And then we've got these prism domes here. And inside these prisms, we've got the bat-eared fox. And then we go into the center prism. If we follow the path. And inside here, we have our black-backed jackal. And there's a third prism, which just covers the entrance into that other aquatic one that we had just checked out. Along with some more staffing. And then in this one here, we have another side enclosure, which has the Bactrian deer. And that is the zoo. That's as much as I can really get for animal-wise without my computer forcing them to crash. So, yeah, so you can if you want, I haven't uploaded any of mine to the workshop because most of the stuff in it are not my creations, although a lot of this stuff I have heavily altered. But yeah, I just encourage you to check out some of the other maps that I've done in some of the other videos. There you can find some of these assets as well as the Steam Workshop. You can find many of these assets on the Steam Workshop. Animals, again, Nexus Mods has a ton of extra animals for you to upload. Some of them work, some of them don't, so it's kind of a trial and error. If one makes your game crash, then remove that file and then go back in from your save, and then you can tell whether it works. And then if it doesn't work, I would encourage you to go onto the Nexus Mods site and actually mark it, comment that you had a bug with it, so that way the developer, whoever created that mod, they will know that it is not working, that there are errors with it. As with all the new DLC and updates that come out, sometimes these things stop working, as with any other mod that you put into any game. Updates and DLC can make them not work. So that's something to check out if you want to see a lot of these animals in there. But this is my Dome Make a Stink zoo. That is it. I'm going to start working on a new zoo now, which is going to have more animals that start with B within their order. I'm just working my way down the list, except for the insects. Insects, I've been not necessarily working down the list. I've been kind of going all over the place with them. Yeah, as well in the next zoo, you might see some animals that start with the letter C. We'll see how far I'm able to get with that and how big I'm able to make that zoo. So thanks for checking out this zoo. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you'll check out the next one. Not sure if we'll be in Planet Zoo for the next video or if we'll be in Jurassic Park Evolution 2, as my son is home this week, so he might want to do some videos with me in that. And I'm taking advantage of the time that they are home from school, as he's been super busy while he's been home from school. He has been all over the place. He's at Grandma and Grandpa's fence building this week. So yeah, we'll see where he's at after that. Hopefully he's feeling well. I know he's been really, with his condition that he has, he really struggles. So he's been working hard this week. So I imagine he's going to be pretty weak this week due to his kidney condition. But we'll see. And yeah, prayers and thoughts again for all those dealing with wildfires. Yeah, horrific situations. All these arsonists need to be arrested, and I know they've arrested some of them, but hopefully they arrest more of them and give them some real prison sentences. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to catch you next.